For months I've read my boyfriend's posts and updates. Hello strangers. My name is not Sherry, but a lot of people on Reddit would know me by that name. For a year my boyfriend has been posting and updating about his ex-wife's affair with my ex-husband, and a lot of the comments I have read have been the sweetest, most helpful advice I've ever heard. He did not want to show me what he was posting, but after he found out I watched Reddit videos on YouTube, he showed me his profile, and I have been reading them and giving input on them too, as he writes. My ex-husband, the one that is called Max in illustrious Fox 88800 posts. We met online when I was still in school. I was 16 and he was 18, but we grew close pretty quick and started a long-distance relationship. He visited me once in my home state for a week, where we decided we were going to move in together. My father never liked Max from the start. I think my first red flag was when he came over to meet my parents for the first time. He was wearing pajama pants. For the rest of the relationship they never called him my boyfriend or fiancé, just pajama boy. We both loved anime and I am an introvert, so for a while he and like two of my friends were really the only people I talked to. I never thought he was a bad person. I always thought he was like me and just awkward and not used to crowds or social situations. He was always mailing me DVDs, figures, and clothes I liked when he wasn't around, and in the beginning he really did a lot to make me feel like he loved me. In my senior year of high school he convinced me that we had to live together and be together. He did not threaten to break up with me, but he did start saying things like this was the prime of his life and that he could be dating and sleeping around but didn't because of me. I told him I wanted to finish out the year and told him this, and for a day or so he talked like he was okay with it, only to start guilting me about the life I was keeping him from living. My home life was not ideal, and being a stupid kid I gave in, stopped going to school and took a bus up to be with him. Things changed almost the instant I got there. He wasn't abusive, he did not hit me or insult me, but it seemed to me at the time that he had lost all time interest in me. We would have time, but not often, and where once he seemed outgoing, he now never wanted to leave his parents' house for any reason. We were still friends, but for 2 years of our relationship, all we really did was play video games from the time we got up in the morning until the time we went to bed. He also started gaining weight from all the delivery food he ordered literally every day. Just to get out of the house I got a job at a pet store, where I made my first friends in that state. The whole time we were together he worked in an office warehouse for a drugstore chain. So my life before pet store was waking up, seeing him leave for work, having awkward conversations with his siblings and parents until he came home, and then video games. Honestly, I started thinking about leaving him a year into this. I felt he worked really hard to get me, but once he had me, he stopped trying or caring. It wasn't long after this that he revealed to me that he was bisexual. No big deal, I am too. But he started what I can only describe as passive guilting me. He talked about being attracted to men and how that was a part of his life he could never explore now. We started arguing over it, and eventually I said something stupid like, "Go get it out of your system." I didn't know this would become a common thing. Through his phone I accidentally discovered that he had met up with a man for time. I confronted him over it, we fought, he apologized, and he promised he would never do it again. Truthfully, I wanted to move back home, but when this all happened I didn't have the best relationship with my parents, and I thought moving home might be worse. This happened twice more and I forgave him 2 more times, or at least I said I did. I started saving up money from my job and planned to leave him and get my own place, but before I could do much I discovered I was pregnant. Instantly his interest came back, and he was extremely nice to me again. I threatened to leave if he cheated again, and I told him that we had to change and couldn't keep living at his parents because I was ashamed of being our age and still doing that, and to still do that with a child would make me feel worse. To his credit, he did change and start cleaning up. It was decided that we would move into his parents' second home and begin renting from them, as the tenants that were previously renting had left. And it was during our move that I met his cousin, who I will call Jennifer. I really liked her at first as we were into the same kind of music and anime and had the same sense of style. She also had a little boy and started to give me young mother advice. When we were moving into our home, she and illustrious Fox 8800, I'll call him John from now on, brought over a lot of their son's baby furniture, a crib and so forth, and I was very thankful. But then he started hanging out with Jen a lot. She got him concert tickets for his birthday and took him out. He got a weekend job at Halloween Carnival and she was always posting pics of herself there with him and his co-workers. She started to seem a little needy and close to him, but they were cousins, so I didn't think anything was wrong with it, or if I did, I called myself crazy for thinking that. He also started wearing kilts around this time. It was weird, but he is Scottish, so I figured he was awkwardly embracing his heritage. Then they went from the flannel, tartan, whatever designs to wearing one made of denim that just looked like a skirt. Jen started coming around a lot more the more pregnant I got, and I noticed that whenever she was going to be around or they were going somewhere, he'd be in kilts. They would claim to go to movies together or to hang out with mutual friends. I was very suspicious but attributed it to hormones. After my daughter was born, Jen disappeared overnight, though they would talk on the phone a lot. I tried to snoop once or twice on his phone, but there was nothing, and he was working hard and behaving like a good father, so all the weirdness just vanished over time. A few months later, Jen started coming around again. It got to be she was coming by almost every day asking him to help with something because John was at work. I remember once while they were both present, I said, "Fine, go date your damn cousin again." I would find out later that it was during this time that John had discovered the Max was sending Jen dirty texts, but she told him she'd deal with it. Then one afternoon, as I was getting lunch ready for my daughter, I get a knock at the door and it's John. He looks very composed, but he gets 4 or 5 words into explaining to me what he discovered before he gets choked up and teary. All of my suspicions were true. Max was cheating on me with his cousin. I went ballistic and exposed them on every social media platform I have. I saw Max 3 times after this moment because he ran away. The first was him pulling away from our house after he snuck in to collect his things. The second was meeting him in a parking lot because he wanted to talk in person, and the third was seeing him in the hospital after he poisoned himself. This is already very long and I plan to continue writing as a therapeutic release, but I'm glad I've got at least this off my chest. Story 2, went blank when GF initiated rough SX, now won't even kiss me, need advice on how to start a conversation about it. IF18 have been dating someone I consider the love of my life, F19, for a year, and while we've never had a serious talk about my past, she's always been extremely attentive to me and what I'm okay with. But there was recently a thing where I was far too tired and just exhausted from working so hard, and then I got really upsetting news from my parents about my former abuser. So when my girlfriend came home at night and into the bedroom where I was laying in bed, so pissed off that she wasn't thinking of anything besides time and making me feel good while getting rough, I just let it happen. I didn't want to be touched, especially rough time with how upset I was. Usually I say no or not tonight, but I was just so exhausted and felt so hopeless from the news I had gotten that I didn't say anything or push her away. It's like I just blanked. I felt like I was there but not there at all. I couldn't think of anything or say anything. She found out the next morning and was understandably extremely upset with me. Hell, I was also upset with me for how I went blank, but I was never upset with her because she didn't do anything wrong. It's now been a week since then and she won't touch me. She won't kiss me even when I try to initiate a kiss. She says she's scared of hurting me and doesn't want me to feel like I'm being pressured because after that incident she feels like she isn't that different from my abuser and that she just used me. I don't feel like that at all. I feel like it was a misunderstanding with both of us not thinking and that it wasn't a big deal. I was thinking we should have a talk about my past, and both of our boundaries in general so something like this doesn't happen again, but she gets quiet every time I try to bring it up. I'm very confused now and what I should do to try and fix this. I need advice on how to start a conversation about this. Because the only other thing I can think of would be asking her to come to therapy with me, and to me that seems blame why. Story 2, update. GF who uses S-time as stress relief came home and got rough with me. My mind went blank and I let it happen. I was honest and told her that this obviously isn't something we can just move past and I really want to fix it, so we have to sit down and talk about it, or she can come to therapy with me if it'd be easier. She told me we'd deal with it later and I said okay. A few hours later, when I brought it up like she said to, she went off on me. She backed me into a corner and got angrier than I've ever seen her before, and to be fully honest, it scared me. She basically yelled at me that she's not going to therapy with me and whatever happened to me in my past wasn't her fault nor her problem, and that something like this better never happen again cause she doesn't want to deal with me being an ungrateful BTCH and feel that she has to walk on eggshells around me. She finished it saying I can do whatever I want and feel however I want to feel, but that we won't be talking about it again and she's not gonna put up with my issues surrounding S-time anymore. I love her. I really do, but after this how I feel. She's never been like this before and I don't really understand what she means when she said something like this better never happen again cause she doesn't want to deal with me being an ungrateful BTCH and feel that she has to walk on eggshells around me, or what she means when she says she won't put up with my issues surrounding S-time. That was the first and only time I've ever shut down like that, and it wasn't like I did it on purpose. I don't have any issues surrounding S-time that I can think of besides me occasionally saying no, not tonight, or just telling her to be gentler. And I would ask, but she's been mad and stomping around the house, not to mention saying we're not talking about it again. I've decided I'm gonna ask to go stay with my dad for a while and that we should take a break. I invited one of my brothers over today, so I guess I'll tell her I want to take a break while he's here, while I trust her. And I really don't think she'd ever hurt me. The way she acted today was completely different to how she normally is, and it made me very nervous, so I'd rather be safe than sorry, I guess. Thank you to everyone that commented, it helped a lot. Edit. Yeah. I think I've finally come to my senses. I didn't want to realize that I was being abused. Again. I feel ashamed that I was so blinded and passive, but I'm glad everyone here has helped me. I'm gonna get therapy and my dad has already prepared a room for me. I'll be leaving tomorrow to go live with him until I can get my own place. Just to be safe, I'll have my brothers get my stuff from her house for me, and I'll officially break up with her on the phone while I'm at my dad's house cause if I did it in person I don't think she'd take it well. Redditors' reactions. Redditor 1, 12 signs you're in an emotionally abusive relationship. 1. You tiptoe around your partner, you're never sure of his or moods, and they can switch so suddenly from warm and fun to cold and distant. When they're in a good mood you can relax, but never entirely, as you never know when the next storm might blow in, and the storm is scary or exhausting too. You say I'm sorry excessively. Sometimes you're not sure what you did wrong, but you apologize anyway. It's easier to keep the peace. Take extra note if you do this more than you used to. 3. You're reluctant to call out your partner even when what you have to say is valid. You tend to clam up your partner as a master gaslighter. She will cleverly twist the circumstances to put the blame on you, so then you doubt yourself, was I wrong for raising this? 4. You're frequently told you overreact when you're not, or you could be. It's happened so often you struggle to tell the difference. 5. Your partner brushes off their own poor behavior. For example, it was just a bit of fun time, got away on me. You know what I'm like when I'm with my work colleagues. You're making too much of this, haha. No big deal. 6. Your partner uses put-downs or ignores you. You try to ignore the obvious degrading comments, but even the subtle slights serve to undermine your confidence. Your partner doesn't ignore you every time. Sometimes they're lovely, but that's the point. You don't know when it's coming. 7. You've lost confidence. Generally, you often second-guess your own thoughts and actions. You don't feel as confident in other areas of your life as you used to. 8. You find yourself excusing your partner's poor behavior. You wonder if they are depressed or have a personality disorder or are the product of a difficult family background. These things may be true, but that doesn't give them a leave pass to treat you poorly. especially when it keeps happening over a long time. You still have to consider what it's like for you to be in a relationship with them. 9. Your partner often changes plans on you and others. These changes come suddenly and will be spun to look like it's fun, exciting for you. But in reality, it's anxiety provoking. It's also a means of controlling you, of keeping you standing on shifting sand. 10. Your partner is secretive. Your partner is very protective of their phone. They'll disappear without telling you where they're going. And when they go out away, you're never entirely sure of what they're doing and who with. On the other hand, they want to know exactly what you're up to, who with, and what time you'll be home. 11. You're not sure what's normal in a relationship. You're not happy and relaxed in your relationship. You have a feeling the erratic way your partner treats you isn't right, but you don't know what goes on for other couples. You can't exactly ask around. Maybe this is normal. 12. You keep telling yourself you love them, and you probably do, but loving someone doesn't mean it's okay for them to treat you badly, and loving someone doesn't mean you have to stay with them at all costs. Spend some time You should probably stay far away from her. Redditor 2. Angrier than I've ever seen her before, and to be fully honest, it scared me. I really don't think she'd ever hurt me. These two statements are oxymorons. She initiated and carried on with hard time with you despite your complete lack of response. She says she felt bad about it, but then told you she blamed you and your past abuse for everything, and told you she would not tolerate you either responding negatively to her time advances nor take any responsibility for her behavior, while being physically aggressive and threatening you. She's not acting out of character. Her mask has slipped and revealed the person behind it. She is selfish and unconcerned about you, your safety, or your feelings, and has outed herself as the malignant, abusive, violent user that she is inside. Unfortunately, you, like so many other abuse victims, have been drawn to a manipulative abuser who is making use of your low self-esteem, timidity, and willingness to please, to treat you like acid and ride roughshod over your autonomy and your safety. Do not allow it. She is not the person you fell in love with. You just couldn't see it before because she is a manipulative and cunning. This has only come to light because if you both went to a competent therapist, the real person she is would be brought to light by that therapy and reveal the toxic person she is. Redditor follow-up. Important to note, of course, that people are capable of changing for the better, but usually it requires a big ducking catalyst. Redditor 3. This woman is extremely abusive. Run. Get out, get away. Redditor 4. Darvo deny, tap, reverse victim and offender. I think she might be dealing with the prospect of shame from hurting you by turning herself into the victim so that she doesn't have to face the reality of who she is and how she treats you. Who is she? An entitled person that feels she is allowed to abuse you as she please. Who are you? A person of worth that doesn't deserve to be treated like this from an abuser. Redditor 5. I'm sorry for what you've been through, but I'm glad you have the self-respect to do what you need to. Her behavior is extremely concerning, her choice of words and pointing blame at you. It's not okay. I hope she can realize her position and unsupportive behaviors are not okay. I hope you figure things out. Good idea having your brother around for when you tell her. You're making the correct cautionary moves.